I want to ask about something that the Attorney General, William Barr, said to Wolf Blitzer this past week about threats to this election. Watch this.
The intelligence community says Russia, China, and Iran are seeking to interfere in the U.S. presidential election for various reasons, but mostly they want to sow dissent in our country, exacerbate racial tensions, et cetera, like that. Of those three countries that the intelligence community has pointed to, Russia, China, and Iran, which is the most assertive, the most aggressive in this area?
I believe it's China.
Which one?
China.
China more than Russia right now?
Yes.
Why do you say that?
Because I've seen the intelligence. That's what I've concluded.
What are they trying to do?
Well, I'm not going to discuss that.
So, Mr. Chairman, without divulging classified information, have you seen evidence that Trump officials insist they have seen that China is actively interfering in this election far more than Russia?
No, that's just a plain false statement by the Attorney General, a flat-out false statement. Interestingly, some of the other administration officials have been trying to mislead the public by saying that China is the bigger threat to the country in speaking in global terms because of the rising power of China. And they are using that answer in response to questions about the election, but they're at least careful in their misleading the public by not saying that they're a greater threat to the election. They're just saying generically they're a bigger threat. But what Bill Barr just did in that statement was just flat out mislead the American people with a blatantly false statement. Joe Biden has been briefed as well as our committees, and he acknowledged as much the other day. And it's just such a disservice to the country that we can't trust our own Attorney General. But apparently Bill Barr is ready to do anything or say anything to help Donald Trump.
You're basically saying he's lying.
Well, that's basically what he's doing. And I hesitate to say that, but it is the reality. Bill Barr isn't going to itemize the intelligence because it's just a flat-out false statement.
And you're confident that you have seen the intelligence that he has seen, and you've come to clearly a different conclusion, that conclusion being that it is Russia that is far more active in trying to sow disinformation and misinformation in this election more than China.
Yes, and in fact, if you look at what the intelligence director, Evanina, who runs the National Counterintelligence Center, what he said in his public written statement, he said that Russia was actively interfering, actively engaging across a range of measures to influence the outcome. China had a preference. And if you look at that, you can tell that Bill Barr is just flat out lying to the American people. And it's tragic, but it's as simple as that.
I asked the Democratic vice presidential nominee, Kamala Harris, about this issue. Take a listen.
At Leaf Filter, we're on a never-ending journey to end gutter cleaning forever. We guarantee you'll never...
I want to ask about Russia. Yeah. The Department of Homeland Security bulletin said that Russia is trying to amplify claims that mail-in voting will lead to widespread voting fraud and undermine the public's trust in the upcoming election. Are you worried that Russian interference could cost you the election?
I am clear that Russia interfered in the election of President of the United States in 2016. I serve on the Senate Intelligence Committee. We have published detailed reports about exactly what we believe happened. And I do believe that there will be foreign interference in the 2020 election and that Russia will be at the front of the line.
Could it cost you the White House?
Theoretically, of course. Yes.
Do you share that concern, Mr. Chairman?
Well, I certainly share the concern. If you look at the 2016 election, it was decided by, I think, about 70,000 votes in 3 different states. And given the size of the Russian operation, we'll never be able to tell whether that interference was decisive in an election that close. If this election is very close, then will these Russian efforts on social media, through their overt media, through other modalities the Russians are using, could they be determinative? It's certainly possible, which is all the more reason why we need to deter, disrupt, and expose what the Russians are doing. And why what the president is doing and Bill Barr is doing is so destructive of our democracy when they essentially cover for the Russians. Because, by misleading the United States and our citizens about China being a bigger threat to the elections, they are basically giving Russia free rein because the Russians know, that coward in the White House, Donald Trump, will never call out Putin. Bill Barr certainly won't, and therefore they can do whatever they want, and Donald Trump is still going to blame China.
Real quick, I know that you wrote a letter inviting the Director of National Intelligence, John Ratcliffe, to come and testify before your committee. Have you heard back? And if not, are you going to issue a subpoena?
We have not gotten an answer yet, and we'll be discussing with the Speaker, following up with whatever coercion we need to make sure we get answers. But Dana, the fact that, for example, that DHS bulletin about the Russians trying to denigrate and smear Joe Biden's health, that was withheld from law enforcement. We can't rely on documents if they're going to be withholding documents. You need to be able to ask questions. So, we'll do whatever we need to do to get the information to protect the country.
That sounds like a subpoena.
Well, that's a decision that our leadership ultimately makes because it impacts the whole House.
Understand. Okay. Adam Schiff, Chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, thank you so much for coming on.